When I say I, however, do not know what informed the minister's decision to issue the directive through his mind December. I don't know what was going through his mind when he wrote that letter. Of course, in his explanation, he says he was seated at home and he wrote that directive.
Why I'm raising this? Just because the minister. Why I'm raising this? Just because the minister had concern of the PKTT.
I don't know
for a long time. That was established. Its mandate for a long time, and its mandate was being renewed, and it was incurring budgetary constraint at some point because of its extension. So he regarded that as an irregular expenditure. Then based on your experience and understanding, would you agree with such a proposition that says, indeed, if you are extending the task team time and again, it became or it incurred an irregular expenditure?
No, the political killings task team never incurred irregular expenditure that I know of. If it did, I'm not aware of such a thing. There was no time frame that the PKTT is going to exist from January to December. It was established to deal with a specific problem, and for as long as the problem it has not been completely resolved, that is the cases that came out of it, you can't do away with that task. And for you to then to effectively deal with that, that's why we spoke of a phased-in approach, wherein you create the capacity to deal with that. Mind you, in I think October, November, somewhere there, we were engaged in the organizational structure of SAPS, where we made proposals that ended up being accepted by management and ultimately by labor. It will be a process that will happen over time. It might take you six months, it might take you 12 months. It will depend on how fast that process unfolds. And between now and that time that it gets integrated, it will obviously incur expenses, but those expenses will not become irregular. They are within the law, and if the Auditor General then come to establish that no, this thing is irregular, he will do so and express an opinion. But I don't think the accounting officer will allow a situation where finances of the institutions are spent irregularly. That's why I'm saying there's no expenditure which was irregular that was incurred by the PKTT.
But there were increasing costs that were there in financing their operations, that is the PKTT. In fact, if there were, did you ever discuss that in your meetings that you held prior to the directive?
Well, any task team that you form, it will increase your expenses because you are creating something that is not there. And you are going to take personnel from other provinces to go and work. In this case, you are taking people from other parts of the country to go and work in KZN. They don't stay there. So when they arrive there, you must deal with their needs, both accommodation and transfer costs and all those things, a cost that you didn't have before you took that decision. So it's logical that your expenses will increase in this regard. But I don't think that should be what guides us. What guides us is the problem at hand that we want to deal with. And if we are going to incur cost in dealing with that problem, so be it. And I think that's what happened. I'm not saying we don't care about the expenses of the state. We care a lot. And we want to use them sparingly. But where circumstances pushes us, like in this case, where you had an outcry, you had a commission set up to look at the matters that were taking place in KZN, we had to finance a response to that phenomena. And that's why we ended up having these expenses that we incurred.
Okay. You mentioned that consultation would have been good as a matter of courtesy. You were not consulted whatsoever. Given your comment on courtesy, how would you categorize the minister's directive? Would you say that the minister acted in good faith? I know when you were interacting with the senior counsel, you said that it was problematic where the minister, you don't know what went on in the mind of the minister to issue such a directive. And now I want, how would you categorize the minister's directive given on the 31st December?
Well, the 31st December is the 31st December, Honorable. It's New Year's Eve. Well, personally, that day I observed the end of the year and the beginning of the new year. How do I categorize that? It's unusual. I think that's why I say it's very difficult to comprehend what was going through his mind as he was penning out that letter.
Is there any other directive that the minister had ever given to the department apart from this one of the PKTT? That had an immediate flavor in it.
Not to my knowledge, but there have been interaction between the minister and the national commissioner. Some of the interactions did not include us, and they were able to communicate, and things got done. It might be in other instances it delayed here and there, but they ended up being done. This I think was. I think it's the only communique that I know of that came and brought us here.
You mentioned that the interface between the executive oversight and the operational autonomy is constitutionally delicate. Can you expand, highlighting the delicacy of the interaction, and where do we draw the line?
Yeah, the executive authority
Operational autonomy
is the political head of the institution.
Delicate.
And the accounting officer is the administrative head of the
Highlighting
institution.
the delicacy.
The two have authority or power. Let me say the two have power. But in the exercise of their power, they must take into consideration each other's existence and interface in such a manner that they complement each other's work. I know it's a very difficult environment within government, both national, provincial, and local our municipalities, where the interface tend to be sometimes a bit difficult for the incumbent to manage. But in the main, the relationship between the two is dialectical in the sense that the political authority, the executive authority, needs the accounting officer and vice versa. They must complement each other. If they work together well, you won't be here. But if there's a misstep on the two, you will come here quite often.
And consult each other.
Absolutely.
Lastly, Deputy Minister, in paragraph 17, you are saying that the current minister he didn't give you any delegated responsibility, both of you as deputy ministers. You are there in the office, and you are saying that you have said the minister is still familiarizing himself with the office. Can you say that the minister didn't familiarize himself with the issues of PKTT because an immediate directive was given? But now you are still waiting patiently.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Yes, we don't have delegated powers signed off that this is what you do, this is what you are doing. But we had work to do, and we were not like sitting in the office not knowing what to do. I have a program that says this is what we are going to do, and today I have a program that says I'm here. In fact, since yesterday and today and tomorrow, if the committee will still require me to be here. If not, we will work out a program of what to do tomorrow when we rise from here. Yes, I don't have any other better explanation, really, that the minister did not give us delegated authority up to now, except that which I said, that I believe he was still familiarizing himself. But I think from where we are now, from the beginning up to now, I think he's ready to do that. Because, you know, even by the time the directive came out, I think we were almost at the tail end, even though the organogram was not yet signed off. As I said, I think it was signed off around May of SAPS. But I think it will be fair for me to sit here, Chair, and say that the minister is ready. If he knows it happens that this process is concluded tomorrow and they say everybody go to work, we should be able to have delegations. Yeah.
Okay. You know what, Minister? I'm just finishing.
You
know what, Minister?
Honorable Sokanyile, you show respect to others by respecting time allocated to you. That's how you show respect. That's how you show respect to others.
No, it's just a comment to assure the Deputy Minister that this ad hoc committee will issue a directive with immediate effect that these deputy ministers are delegated their responsibilities. It will be this ad hoc committee. Thank you, Chairperson.
Pass the microphone.
Thank you, Chair. May I proceed? DM, how do you work without delegated powers? You wake up in the morning, you go to the office and do what? DM, did you get my question?
Oh, okay. I thought
You wake up in the morning, you bath, you wear a very nice suit, arrive there in the department, and do what? Can you get close to the mic?
Okay. No, thanks, Honorable. You are right. It will appear like we don't have anything to do, but we do, because the department that we are dealing with is vast, and you need to have your pulse on what is happening with the entities that are there. We have to ensure that the ministry is functional, the department is working, coordination is done. The interaction that we were having of the things that needs to be done gets done. That's why you have policing taking place in the country. The fact that we are not delegated specific responsibilities, it doesn't mean that we don't have things to do. We do.
Does it usually take this long?
Of course, but there is a difference between the 6th and the 7th administration. In the 6th administration, I came in within a short space of time. I got my delegated responsibilities, which is attached there. And the reason why it was so quick is because I was working with another police officer in the form of General Cassel. And fast forward to now, the minister comes from a different environment. And this ministry, Honorable, it's complex. You can't just say you are responsible for this, you are responsible for that, without having that deeper understanding yourself. And I think it was necessary for the minister to go through the processes that he has gone through. And as I said earlier, that if this process is concluded tomorrow, I think, and the minister is coming back into office tomorrow, he will be able to allocate us responsibilities because he fully understands SAPS and its operation now as we speak. In fact, he's wiser. He's much wiser. Thank you.
Okay, you arrive at SAPS in 2019.
Yeah.
General Spear testified under oath before this ad hoc committee and said, everyone in the SAPS knows Ket Mathale because he's popular within the organization for the work he's doing in the SAPS. How well do you know Mr. Mathale?
I think I don't want to say it was you can't say everyone.
Can you get close to
you
your mic?
You can't say. Why is it that it looks like I'm far from the mic when you speak, Honorable? You can't say everybody knows him because that might not be factual. But you can say there are some people who know him in subs. That will be accurate because indeed it's some. Personally, I don't know him. I don't know him. I only came to know him when these issues started to hit the wall, and it was in the public space. But I didn't get the opportunity to meet with him.
Okay. Do you think it is in the best interest of the crime-fighting efforts to dissolve the political killings task team?
It's in the best interest of the crime-fighting effort. The political task team, it was not necessarily SAP's response to fighting crime. It was SAP's response to fighting political killings that happened in KZN. And it did a very good job as a task team. But when you want to respond to fighting crime, the organizational structure that has been signed off by the National Commissioner, I think it helps us to have an instrument that we can effectively use to fight crime, because it has taken into consideration a number of factors into it. And the need to, for instance, when we separated visible policing into two, to have operational response as a division and to have policing as a division was part of that response. The way crime intelligence have been, the organizational structure have been structured now, it's a way that I can say we have positioned ourselves appropriately to fight crime with that. Crime intelligence, the way it is structured now, is not the same as the way it was structured, I think, 2018, which was signed off. We had a process which started in the 6th administration of how crime intelligence must look like. And in that engagement, we also engage with the Joint Standing Committee on Intelligence about the structure of crime intelligence, and we discussed. They made their input, and they said, "Yeah, I think now you are better structured," which now has been approved as a structure that will assist us. So the combination of properly structured crime intelligence and the detectives section, that is a better organized way to respond to the high rate of crime. But the task team did its work, and it did its work effectively. And task teams, at some point when the task is no longer at hand, they cease to exist, but there are no time frames.
It performed its tasks effectively.
Yeah.
So does that mean you don't agree with the sentiments that it is not adding any value in policing in South Africa?
Yeah, let me say yes.
Okay. We can pass that. The task team in itself is comprised as a multidisciplinary team.
Yeah.
It's comprised of various departments. which some do not even fall under SAPS.
Yeah.
Do you think it was a rational decision to want to dissolve without consulting the sister departments that are part of the team?
Yeah, look, any effective investigation that will lead to prosecution must always be prosecutorial guided, because prosecution plays a role in the fight against crime or dealing with criminality. So once you have got a prosecutorial-led process of investigation, in most cases, the outcome of that process is always good. Unlike an investigation that is not prosecutorial guided, you will go to and fro on a matter that you can go once to the prosecution and they say this is the right thing, let's do it. So it was a good thing to integrate them. Of course, when you say this team must fold, there is nothing wrong in you taking such a decision. But embarking on a process that takes everybody on board as you implement. You can't take a decision and implement, and when in the course of implementing, you then want to solicit an opinion. That might have shortcomings. So it's important that all the role players must be taken on board. By the way, they did not establish themselves, they were established. So as you disestablish, you must take them on board.
Okay. We have received numerous testimonies as the ad hoc committee, some with contradicting statements. Some reckon that the decision to dissolve the PKTT is a policy matter. Some reckon that it is purely an operational matter, which does not fall within the ambits of minister's powers. So what's your take on that?
Look,
some with contradicting statements.
A
Some
decision
reckon
to
that
say that
decision
I think
to dissolve
the task
PKTT
team
is a
has
policy
done
matter.
its work.
Some
That we
reckon that
believe
it is purely
must
an operational
strengthen
matter,
this
which
capability
does
that
not
must deal
fall
with
within the
everything
ambits of,
that has to do with
minister's
MEDA.
powers.
There's
What's
nothing
your
wrong
take
with
on
that,
that?
with that decision. It in fact is the right decision to say must deal with MEDA, irrespective of where it comes from, whether it affects a politician or it affects traditional leaders or ordinary leaders that must deal with it. Therefore, let's strengthen our capacity to deal with that. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, it was a good decision to discuss along those lines, given the structure that we have adopted. The issue is the implementation of that decision. If you hear everybody involved, nobody says, no, this team must continue existing forever. There is general consensus that it must discontinue. The issues is how it must be done. The National Commissioner says it must be a phased-in approach, which is correct. Mm-hmm. It's a transition. You can't implement a decision to de-establish a task team of this nature without taking into consideration how do you deal with the things that it was engaged with without a transitionary phase. You can't. It can't work. That's why today, seated here, we are discussing here, and the team exists out there. And you look at the directives. It's just that we're discussing it. It's written here, but it's irrelevant. That directive. January has come and gone. We are now in October. We are discussing it because of the impact it has had on the issues that we're dealing with. So, yeah, it was not permanent, and at some point it had to fold. Even now, at some point it's going to fold, and the approach of management and everybody is that it will be phased phased-out approach.
Okay. We also have received testimonies from Minister Mkhwanazi, who testified that beyond 2022, the political killing system was not supposed to be in place. So, in a nutshell, meaning that since 2022, the PKTT was operating irregular. Former Minister Cassel said in March 2023, the Interministerial Committee actually extended the lifespan of the PKTT, which later in 2024, I think April, the PKTT also met with the president, and the president gave them a thumbs up and that they must continue. So if you are able to grasp what these events that I'm trying to, you'd say that there is contradiction between the two.
Look, like I said, earlier on, the Honorable, there was a question to the effect that the PKTT was have irregular expenditures. That can only arise if they operate in an illegal. Their existence is illegal. So anything they incur is illegal. And I am of the view that there is nothing illegal about the PKTT. And at no stage did it operate in an illegal environment. If it did, I am not aware of that.
Do you know a work study that has influenced the construction of a new organogram?
Yes.
When was the new organogram agreed and concluded?
It was signed off now, I think May 2020, this year.
May 2025.
Yeah.
Meaning that it cannot have a retrospective effect to the PKTT because the directives predate the signing of the new organogram.
No, but the organogram has nothing to do with it was not designed to fit the PK. It was not designed in response to the PKTT. The two are mutually exclusive.
Okay. Thank you very much, Chair. I think I'm done for now.
Yeah, no, you deserve a standing ovation. Yeah. That is, you can whisper to Honorable Breitenbach and tell her that the chair says that is 8 seconds. 8 sonerlek.
You have a very low bar.
Thank you so much. Are you ready? Let's check the time first. It's 15:35. And then it ends at it's 40 minutes. Yeah. Yes. So you have 25 minutes plus 15. It's quarter past 4. Yeah.
Okay. No, thank you very much, Chair. DM, let's start from where you left off with Honorable Nhlanhla on the issue of a new study which gave birth to a new organogram. That you say it was signed on in May 2025. In your statement on page 19, paragraph 58, you are saying there is a Brixton murder and robbery, which was established. Well, when was it established?
The Brixton.
Yeah, the Brixton.
No, it's in the olden days, the apartheid period. You had a murder and robbery unit, the Brixton murder and robbery unit, which it seems like it was doing a good job, because I came to know about it in my village, where I come from in Zanin.
Okay.
Then and that is way back. So in the discussions about the organizational structure of SAPS, one raised this issue that, but you know, you had things that were effectively working during the apartheid era.
Okay.
It's not everything that apartheid did which was wrong. There are things that they did which were helpful, which we can use in the new dispensation. It is in that context that we speak about that. And I think this then talks to the murder and robbery unit that is in the new in the organogram. I'm not saying they're saying it is there now in the organogram.
Okay. Now, you are saying under the administration of the former Minister of Police, Minister Cele, you were also responsible for IPIT.
Yeah.
And backlogs in court. Let's start with the first aspect, the IPIT. So what is the role of the Deputy Minister if he's responsible for IPIT?
No, it's the role that the minister play over IPT. They remain an independent police investigative directorate, but under the guidance of the minister.
So the classification process, do you know how it goes?
Classification of what?
Of information, documents by IPIT.
Yeah, they will. It's like any other department. You do work, and depending on the sensitivity of the issues that you are dealing with, as the person responsible for that act, you classify the information. There are processes and procedures that they follow to do that.
So is it correct to say it's classified by the either original owner or original author?
Yes, but the executive director is the custodian, is the accounting officer. Is the one that gives that stamp of approval.
So the minister does not get involved?
It's not his decision.
Okay. And then how would you describe your relationship with the former minister, Minister Cele? Is there a dichotomy between the relationship that you had with him and the relationship that you have with the current minister in terms of the working relationship?
I had a good working relationship with both ministers. General Cele, I came to work with him now when I became deputy minister, and we haven't worked together before. Personality-wise, we are two different people, but we were able to find a way to work very well together. Ultimately, we worked very well. The current minister, I've known him before he became a minister, when he was a provincial secretary of the ANC in KZN, and I was the provincial secretary in Limpopo, though he came at the tail end when the last term of my office as secretary, but I almost a year or so that I worked with him, and we came to interface, even though even in this case when I was premier, he became premier, but I exited quicker the space, but we maintained contact over the years. But to come and work together in an office, it started now. And of course, I looked forward to working with him, given the fact that I have worked with him before as secretary, and him being secretary of the province. I didn't foresee any difficulties, and we worked well from the beginning up till now. We still work well together. It's just this incident that happened, which has now brought us here. But otherwise, we work well and we relate very well.
Okay. So you said your functions are entailed in the performance plan, right?
My functions, as in 2018, 2019, I had delegated responsibilities signed off by the minister and myself.
Yes.
And this time around, we have not yet arrived at that. We were still working as and when tasks are assigned. Yeah.
Okay. So your functions remain valid for as long as the administration is valid. So they lapse when you go to another administration.
No, yes. My delegated authority lapsed the day after the president was sworn in as the president of the republic.
Okay, so when the new minister comes in, he must formulate another performance plan for you. Then for how long, after how long should that task be done? Let me just ask it this way. In the previous administration, after how long was it done?
Well, it was done fairly quicker. And the reason being that I was dealing with a police officer, in the sense that General Cassel was the national commissioner. And when I came in, he was a minister appointed in 2018 when President Ramaphosa became president in the 5th administration. So when the 6th administration came, General Cassel was reappointed as Minister of Police. So you had somebody who was fairly conversant with his responsibilities. And that explains why it was quick. With Minister Mkhwanazi, he had to understand the complexities of the institution. Mind you, here you are talking of a department with 4 departments, basically 5 departments in one. You are police, you are DPCI, you are civilian secretariat for police, and IPID, and ultimately CIRA, and the entities like your DNA board. Those are the instruments that belong to this one department. So it's not, you can't just walk in and suddenly know who must do what. You need to fully understand. When you delegate people what you understand yourself. Yeah.
So does it mean even the other DM, because we have 2 deputy ministers, right?
Yeah.
Does not have functions that are delegated to him?
Yes, not yet.
So both of you?
Yeah.
Now, if you are to be honest with us or with South Africans, do we need deputy ministers? Do we need two deputy ministers in SARS?
Absolutely.
Under the circumstances, because you are, I think you are, how many months have you been in office? Have you spent in office?
A year.
A year. You have spent 12 months in office with no delegated functions, because that indirectly means that you add no value to the minister's work. If after 12 months he has not given any function to you through a performance agreement. So he is simply saying, you guys are not adding any value to my work. So there's no need for me to formulate any performance agreement or any performance plan that delegates functions to you. Because a performance plan is triggered by the practical need, by a practical need. They don't just take it from the atmosphere. When there is a need for you to do something, they write that need down and give you responsibilities to resolve those needs. Now, that has not happened for 12 months. Now, do two deputy ministers add any value under the current form?
Definitely they do, Honorable. It doesn't mean that delegations, because delegations have not done, therefore, the department can function without deputy ministers. It doesn't mean that. There is relevance to their creation. And as I said, that SAPS is not like other ministries. It's a huge department. A department that is complex in how it is structured. There you have 4 entities that are in themselves departments. And you need to preside over them. So yes, there is a need, and not explain why you can't deputy ministers. It had nothing to do with that.
Yeah, no, I hear you, DM, but I disagree. A delay for 12 months, not just an ordinary delay, for 12 months without any task given to you. I know that now it's issue-based.
Yeah.
But it's not in terms of the performance plan or in terms of the performance agreement. And that makes things to be difficult for you, because I know that, I know you as a politician. I know that you are an efficient person. So I'm sure that even the current circumstances, they are a frustration to you, because you end up sometimes not knowing what to do, because there's actually nothing that gives you a responsibility from a performance plan. And the delay is inexcusable. It was going to be excusable maybe if it was a delay of 1 month, 2 months, but you have spent 12 months in office without a performance agreement. And whereas you are 2, we're not talking about 1 deputy minister. 2 deputy ministers.
No, look, there is no way that the delays that we have experienced, you can say on the basis of that you don't need deputy ministers. You can't. I believe the nature of the organization you are dealing with necessitates the need for that. And you must deal with the delays. And I think, like I said earlier on, Honorable, that if Minister Mkhwanazi, tomorrow we rise and we conclude, and he must come to work on Thursday, I'm certain that delegations will be attended to. He's ready to do that.
So, DM, can a justification that says the reason why you were not consulted as deputy ministers is because there is no performance plan or agreement that was given to you? So actually a need to consult you did not arise because of that prevalent fact. Would you agree with that? Would that justification accord with logic?
I don't think it will be appropriate or correct to reach that conclusion on Honorable. You can't, on the basis of that letter, then conclude that that is the motivation why it was crafted the manner in which he did, because it's not. He himself have said before you that he was resting at home, and he was thinking about the tasks at hand, and he decided to pen that letter, and nothing beyond that motivated him to do it the way he did. And I think he concedes as well that Yes, he has written the letter, but also those who felt things should have been handled differently, they should have picked up a call. And I think one of the honorables here asked a question to say, while you expect a call, why didn't you call as well? Didn't you think it's wise for you to call? And I guess he considered that it's both ways. So it really had nothing to do with efficiency or non-efficiency of deputy ministers. It's a decision that was made, and I think with retrospect, it could have been made differently.
Okay. The minister, when he was here, he cited the Constitution as a source which gives him powers to do, which gave him powers to do what he did on the 31st of December. And he said the Constitution gives him a right to issue directives.
Yeah.
Now, my reaction to that is that there is a difference between a directive and an instruction. A directive must be given in terms of the constitutional order. If the Constitution gives me a right to open this bottle, and it gives you a right to give me a direction, it doesn't mean that you can open this bottle on my behalf. It means you can say to me, Nomvalo, I think you must open this bottle. And then a directive is limited to that extent. A directive can mean that you can take a decision on my behalf. Now, if I characterize what the minister did, I characterize it as an instruction. An instruction which went beyond a constitutional order. In my view, an ideal scenario would be a situation where the minister calls the National Commissioner and say, National Commissioner, in my view, there is absolutely no need for this PKTT at this moment. It does not add any value anymore. It is wasteful expenditure. So in my view, the task team must be disbanded. So what the minister did, in my view, is that he did what was supposed to be done by the National Commissioner under the name of a directive. And that was a serious misunderstanding of his constitutional obligation on his part. Do you agree with me if I put that scenario?
Well, the letter was written in the manner in which it was crafted and sent to the National Commissioner. The interface that must happen between the executive authority and the counting officer, it's a dialectical interface between the two offices, as I tried to explain earlier on, that the executive authority need to interact with the accounting officer and vice versa. If the executive authority issues out a communique that the accounting officer feels is out of sync, there is a responsibility on the side of the accounting officer to say this is out of sync because of the following, and it can be done that way. And they should take the earlier comment about a meeting that took, I think it's the meeting of the 5th, where the minister led a delegation to the portfolio committee. Effectively, the minister submitted to the portfolio committee that the PKTT is going to be dissolved and is going to be this basis. There will be a transitional period. That is the presentation that served before the committee, presented by the minister, because when we go and appear before the portfolio committee, were led by the minister as the executive authority and the national commissioner as the accounting officer. When we present through whoever is presenting, delegated by the minister and the national commissioner ultimately presenting, it is the minister presenting because it's his document, but it is presented through somebody who is in that space. But technically, it is the decision. It is the minister's decision to talk of that transitional approach. The national commissioner says, "No, I agree to a phased-in approach," but the two of them appeared before a committee and presented an approach to how the PKTT process must be handled. So, despite the fact that there is a directive that was issued, but they presented jointly to say this is how it's going to be done. And that was totally against what the directive was saying. I don't know whether I'm with...
Yeah, I'm following you, DM.
Yes.
So, in conclusion, you agree with my statement or with my narrative that the decision does not fall within the ambits of a directive entailed in the Constitution. In fact, that was not a directive, but it's a decision that was taken on behalf of the National Commissioner, and he was simply instructed to implement it as is. Did you agree with that narrative?
No, but what was implemented is different to what is written in the letter. I'm saying the interface between the accounting officer and the executive authority is a dialectical relationship. It is not a one-way that do this and what you say gets done the way you want it to be done. You say do this and the administration come and do what you say they must do, but in a manner that it makes sense. That's why it became a phased-in approach as we presented.
I would slightly differ with you and say in the manner that is permissible.
Well, that's fine. That's fine. We're saying the same thing.
Yeah, in the manner that is allowed by the law or by the Constitution.
We're saying the same thing. I agree with you.
Yeah, in this case, because if you say in the manner that makes sense, that can be subjective.
Of course.
Because what makes sense to me might not make sense to you. But there is a Constitution which gives guidance here on what a directive is and how the directive can to the National Commissioner. Now, there is a proposition that you are making, which I agree with, but I just want you to broaden it a little bit by giving more substance to it. That of making documents electronically, dockets, because the conclusion that I've drawn from what you are saying is that the current system is vulnerable. Documents can be stolen, and the content therein can be altered, unfairly so. Now, before I go to the question that I want to ask, there is an issue of documents, of dockets, which were taken from KZN to Pretoria.
Yeah.
Are you aware of that?
I was not aware of that until I was notified that something like that happened.
Oh, when were you notified?
I think it was I don't know of the exact date, but I can get that. I received an SMS from General Sivia that there are dockets that are being taken here to KZN, which were brought in here, and those dockets can't be touched because they must be given to the commission, something like that. That's when I realized there's something like this, which I raised the matter with the National Commissioner. And the National Commissioner said, no, he will make sure that nothing happens that jeopardizes the work of the commission.
Okay, so that was after the press briefing of the 6th?
Yeah.
Okay, but before they were taken to Pretoria, you were not aware?
No.
And before the press briefing on the 6th of July, you were not aware?
No.
Okay. Now, you are saying because you were also responsible for the backlogs under the administration of Minister Cassel. You are saying this modernization that you are proposing can resolve all those challenges, including the issue of a backlog.
Yeah, yes, it can. Yes, it can, because the problems of the backlog were not necessarily a problem or a challenge of modernization. It was just inefficiencies in the administration of the laboratory, the things that they work with in the laboratory. For instance, the machines, they need to be maintained. There are contracts for chemicals that are used in the laboratories that were not in place. I mean, we visited the laboratory here in Cape Town with General Cassel. We found machines that had stickers of out of order, just because they were not collaborated. You know, when you don't take your car to service, it malfunctions. So the machines must be in working order for them to give you results that are appropriate. So we developed a project with Deputy Minister Jeffries from Justice, so that from the justice side, they must prioritize cases that are serving before the leadership for one reason or the other. That must be processed to make sure that when that time comes for those cases, we are ready to process them, because there were cases that were thrown out of court because we were not ready with the results. So it was that which we were dealing with. The modernization that one was talking to is with regard to your case dockets that are manual, files, and they get stolen either in the hands of police or they are stolen in court. They disappear. So once the docket is stolen, you can't reconstruct. It's difficult to reconstruct. But if it's electronic, it's safe. If it gets stolen, you just go and download the file and make it ready for use in court. Yes, modernization can assist in a variety of ways, including policing, body cameras, the problems of the challenge around stolen guns. We lose guns in the police. If they steal your gun, you can't trace it. So if you mark them, because technology exists for that, it can help us a great deal.
Okay. Now I think DM, you can make submissions. I take that submission as a valid one. You can also make submissions to the Department of Justice. I think there is a bill that they are currently busy with. But on top of what you are saying, don't you think that enrolling matters which are not ready in court also contributes to a backlog problem? For instance, enrolling a matter whose investigation is not complete, a matter that goes to court for the IO just to say we are still investigating an alternative address, and that matter has been enrolled in the midst of many matters which are being heard in court. Don't you think that also makes a huge undesirable contribution?
I fully agree with you.
Okay, lastly, the chair has made an indication that I'm running out of time. Lastly, If you were a minister at the time when the PKTT was dissolved, and you had a view that the PKTT should be dissolved, what mechanism or what process were you going to follow to ensure that everybody is satisfied and to ensure that you have done everything correctly, you have followed?
When you are a minister, you are part of a team. And you must always work with your team if you want to be victorious. It's teams that win championships. If you don't have a team, you won't win a championship. I believe that should be the approach in any environment. Without that, you won't win. It's like now, if the chair can provide leadership and chair this committee, you will not end what you are supposed to do. And I think he has been chairing the committee in a manner that there is progress. You have been sitting and there is progress. You need a team person in any environment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. I'm passing the baton to Honorable Shongwe.
Yes. Let him run his lap.
Thank you, Chair. Do you call 10 minutes a lap, Chair?
It's less than 10, Honorable Shong.
How many minutes, Chair? How many? No, when you ask, they don't take your time. I need to ask.
We have 6 minutes.
Wow, okay. Now then I'll be very short. Tumela Tuna Muthosa.
Tobel.
La phila papa.
Siyaphila kunjani?
Awa siyaphila nathi. Oh siyakhuluma. Awa. Nekare la bolela.
Hayi kuyabulela.
Lo apha ke apha.
Le nna ke apha. Nabulabula.
Quick one. I'm worried and concerned. My colleague asked you here, Hori, the fact that it's been a year and you guys don't have a delegated work clear to you to do in fact. Doesn't it that worry you, Hori? We are wasting taxpayers' money somehow?
Look, I will be the happiest to have my responsibilities clearly defined. But I also appreciate where we are, where we come from, and we are not just sitting idle, waiting to be given responsibilities. We are working as a team. We do things. It's just unfortunate that we have, which brought us here, the crafting of a note, which if it was not done, we wouldn't be here. But generally speaking, we have been a team dealing with policing, and there have been progress registered by the team. And I think we were on the right track to dealing with criminality in the country. The way we have positioned ourselves, the way we have been able to look at the structure, the way we have been able to look at the personnel at our disposal, which can then augment the work that we do. For instance, folding the inspectorate. It's a major achievement for you to do something like that, and to also come to the determination with the structure that we have before us to say, yes, we are going to have visible policing, but at the same time, we are going to have operational response team that basically goes into an area and ensure that when they leave, the area is not the same as it was before. And the approach that have been adopted now, we have what we call Operation Nhlanhla Phase 2, which is slightly different to the way we have been dealing with Nhlanhla, which we launched then under Minister Cassel. So we were on the right track, the right focus, and something came and disrupted that thinking or that flow that was unfolding. But I believe that despite this, we still are on track, because this structure that is in place, there is no way that it will be shelved and not be implemented. It has been signed off by the National Commissioner. The unions are on board. Everybody is on course. And I believe we are ready to move with the implementation of that structure. So it's not like we were sitting and not doing anything. Work has been going on. Unfortunately, we took longer than we should have. We could have done better.
All right. Let me ask this: who appoints deputy ministers?
The President of the Republic.
So, when it comes to these two deputies, you don't have clear delegated responsibilities.
No, the President has delegated the ministers to deal with this matter, and the minister was working on it. It's unfortunate that this happened before it could be finalized, but like I said, if he come back tomorrow, he reports for duty, or Thursday, this will be one of the things that he disposes of from the table.
No, but yaka iri ki phoso ya mang gore lena alina yona alina delegated responsibilities.
Ke arabile kere President or delegate the minister to deal with these matters, and the minister is working on it.
So ki phoso ya mang?
No, it's the minister who is supposed to process the delegation, because he has been delegated to do so by the President.
Whose fault is it that you don't have responsibilities? Which minister?
No, not that I don't have responsibilities, that we have not signed off the delegated authority. We have not signed off. So as soon as the minister is ready for us to do that, we will be able to process that.
All right. I read answer mo karabo mo. I'm worried, Morena Donatus. Hore. Under this president, we had one acting minister, one suspended minister, one deputy minister, and another deputy minister. That's 4. And another acting minister, 5. And all of them, they are coming in the space of this financial term. Does it maybe when you maybe katsela engore no man morena president I don't know bolela mo re ja tšhelete ya batho ka tsela ya wrong, because re dutse mo ke no nyaka mbereko mo ke no bereka ke etsa something gore o mpone re ke busy le nna. Because what you are saying to me, you are saying you are working, you are doing something. It's like, look busy, Jesus is coming. Mm-hmm. So to me it gives me that. Doesn't it worry your conscience, Hori? So much money has been spent on 5 positions that are not seriously helping South Africans. I'll be doing my last question after this. When the light is red, it's time for the last question. Once. Which party are you coming from, sir? Which party deployed you?
Is that part of your terms of reference?
No.
Because I want to be.
It is political interference. That's what I want to know. It's political, part of political interference.
Look, I am a member of the African National Congress.
And your second deputy?
She's a member of the ANC as well.
But member of ANC as well?
Absolutely.
You may answer that question. Thank you, Chair. Remember, there's a question.
But Why are you appointed as deputy minister, and then you have got an acting minister? You know, the minister is on leave because we have to deal with what we are dealing with now here. That's why you are part of the ad hoc committee that is presiding to deal with these facts, so that you are able to advise Parliament, for Parliament to advise on how things can be done better, different from what brought us here. And because of that, you must have somebody responsible for policing, and an acting minister has been appointed in that regard. Thank you very much, Chair.
Sorry, Chair. I think that my question was not answered. Maybe you didn't hear my question. My question speaks to your conscience. For these 5 positions at one time, what is your perception regarding that, and how do you feel about it, Ori? There's 2 deputy ministers, there's 1 suspended minister. All of these people are still getting salaries, by the way, except for one Honorable Mandasha, if I may say. What's your take on that? What about the South Africans? What are you saying to them about that?
Look, it's not about my feelings that we are dealing with here. We are dealing with...
Can you come forward to the mic, sir? While you speak about...
I think, Chair, I don't think the member, the question that he's raising is relevant to what we're dealing with, and I've tried to answer him. He's not satisfied with my answer. I can't answer beyond this.
So you are satisfied with the answer that you have given?
Yeah.
Okay. Honorable members,
Chair.
We will come back
Sorry,
at 4:30.
Point of order, Chair. If you say you're asking the honorable sitting there, Ori, is he satisfied with the answer? What is the answer? What was the answer? I didn't hear an answer, sir.
Yeah, what he says is that the answer that he has given to you, he stands by it.
Answer to which question, sir?
My understanding is that the question that you were asking was a follow-up, and that is why you were able to clarify it.
Chair, which party are you from? I feel that way. Not the question I asked, Chair. If no mates, if Ngarim fair answer when that he gave me, you can't give it to me unless Chair when you can just clarify tomorrow. No, he answered this way in this
you
question.
You asked him a question
yes.
about appointment of 5. I listened very carefully.
Yes, and what was the answer, Chair?
And he responded.
Which was the answer? I didn't get the answer, Chair. That's what I'm asking.
But you asked a follow-up question. You even said to him...
No, I was clarifying the question, Chair.
No, listen to what you said. You said to him that the question I'm asking is talking to your consciousness. I heard everything. And he came back and said, the answer that I gave on that question. But look, I'm prepared to...
No, Chair, we can drop it. I understand.
No. We don't do things like that. We don't work like that. Because at the time you finished questioning, it was 18 minutes past 4. And your time has ended at 4:15. And how I want us to conduct proceedings must be in such a way that we show respect to one another as members of this committee. When your time is up, it is up, and that must be the understanding, honorable members. Because I wanted to call a break, a 15 minutes break. No, I must call a break. But before I call a break, I want us to get back to our business. And the only way of getting back to business is to do things in accordance with our agreements. When time has expired, it has expired, and unfortunately we can't reverse the clock. And you know, Honorable Shong, I always want to declare how I equally want to be seen. It's not just about treating you equally, but manifestly seen treating you equally. And I just want to request that we have that kind of cooperation which will help us to achieve the work of the committee. Thank you so much. It's now 22 minutes after 16 hours, so I'm giving you a 15 minutes break. We are going to come here at 20 minutes before 17 hours. Thank you. Honorable Cameron has been released. He has a commitment this afternoon, so we had to release him. Thank you so much. No, so.